Trying to make Oakland an ugly duckling, Ayesha Curry, Steph Curry's wife, enrages Bay Area Oakland locals by blaming violent crimes for another failed business. You might think, yeah, what's the deal? It's Oakland, right? Well, the Atlantic Black Star has another perspective on maybe, just maybe, why this store is closing. Let's get into it. Here we go. Here's what that looks like, right? Ayesha Curry is in the hot seat right now after upsetting Oakland, California locals. On February 1st, the entrepreneur announced the closing of her boutique, Sweet July, on the company's Instagram, claiming it was due to safety concerns. I love this. She is coming right out, and as business owner, she is saying, hey, Oakland ain't safe. But people are saying, what if the business wasn't viable? Here's what the deal is, and we'll get to it in a second. Here's what the deal is. There's no foot traffic. There's no foot traffic to this store. There's no foot traffic. There's nobody walking around in Oakland. Why is that? Why is there nobody walking around in downtown San Francisco? Why is there nobody walking around downtown Portland? Why is there nobody walking around areas of downtown Seattle? Why is there no foot traffic? Because it isn't safe. Because of safety concern. I have safety concerns. I have a concern that if I walk in this particular area of town, I will die. I will be killed. I will be stabbed. I will be shot. Who knows? Anything could happen because you got a bunch of whacked out, homeless, drug addicted, drug dealers, pimps, who knows what, running around doing willy-nilly. And people tend to get concerned when that happens. But anyway, Sweet July, Ayesha Curry's retail store and cafe, is located in uptown Oakland and sells self-care and home goods items. It looked like a really nice store. Let's take a quick peek at the website here. I mean, it's home goods and it's like self-care. And here's some stories. We got community, we got impact, we got self-care, we got store, we got style, we got taste, we got chocolate crinkle cookies. If we go over here to shop, we can look at, there's some mugs. All right, we got a crew neck sweatshirt for $125. Okay, we got some organic room spray. I mean, it's not my thing, right? It's not my thing. I'd rather go to O'Reilly's Auto Parts all day long, if you know what I mean. But there's a market for this stuff. It's called, people who run the house, moms, women, all those folks, people who actually run the home, not single guys like me, right? So we got self-care, we got home goods items. Company's website describes the space as an experience and a beautiful gathering place for the community. However, on February 9th, the store will be closing its doors for good. Check out a quick video from Oakland ABC 7 News. Here we go.
Ayesha Curry will close her uptown Oakland boutique called Sweet July because of unspecified safety concerns. The wife of Warrior superstar Steph Curry opened the store 4 years ago. Sweet July sold home goods, books, and other items from Black-owned and locally owned businesses. It'll close on Sunday.
Nice.
In 2022, burglars targeted the store, making off with several items and forcing it to close for a weekend.
You know what the story there is? They only got robbed once. That is the story. I mean, only one time? That's a damn miracle. That is an outright miracle. There's Steph. Now, if you don't know who Steph Curry is, he's probably one of the greatest point guards ever, arguably. Basketball player and an NBA player from Golden State Warriors. He's a phenomenal player. He's just a great player. His wife has this story. Sharing a photo of the boutique on Instagram with the words, "Thank you, Oakland," Sweet July announced its closing in order to prioritize. This is the non-corporate speak, and this is what people are upset about. In order to prioritize the safety of our patrons and staff, we have made the difficult decision to close our Sweet July cafe and store in Oakland. We have loved being a part of Oakland, and we are grateful for the community that has opened their arms and embraced us. It's been an honor to serve you. Let's go back to that. Let's go back to that for a second. Prioritize the safety of our patrons and staff. Closing is now affiliated with safety. We got to close this door because somebody's damn well going to get killed up in here. Somebody's going to get stabbed in here. Somebody is going to have a nut job run up here and assault somebody. We can't have people closing late. This store, it was closed on, I want to say Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it closed in the afternoon at 5 p.m. What happens West Coast, Best Coast time in 5 p.m.? Starts to get dark a lot of the year. But, you know, in summer, you can have light until almost 10 o'clock here in Seattle. We're so far north. Oakland, further south, it's not going to be light that late. But 5 o'clock, the store closed at 5 o'clock. Well, why did they close at 5 o'clock? Because it's dangerous. This is a high-end store that had security guards. I believe, from what I read, they're armed security guards. So it's a boutique. It's a really nice store. Wildly out of place in Oakland. Wildly out of place in Oakland. And now even further so because it's closed. Right? So Ayesha Curry comes right out and says, oh, we got to make a decision here. We got to cut this bad boy off from having the ability to have, further, interactions with people who are out of their mind and on drugs. Because that's who's walking around Oakland. That's who's walking around San Francisco. That's who's walking around Seattle, Portland, LA. Not everywhere all the time, but enough to make it a priority for the safety of the patrons and staff, and to say, you know what, even if we are making money, we're not going to do it here anymore. We're done. We got to go. Then only one break-in? I mean, that's a damn miracle. In Oakland, that's a miracle. But the company isn't going away completely. The caption also hinted at there being exciting new ventures on the horizon. Here's the kicker. Just not in Oakland. Where are they going to go? They're going to go away and somewhere safer. Still be in California. The place for the Golden State Warriors, right? They're tied to the community. Clearly, they're tied to the community. They opened up a store. They want to be there. They want it to be a success. They want it to be a success for the folks there. But with leadership the way that it is in these big liberal cities, you're going to have these nut jobs wandering the streets. Here's another amazing. Here's what I'm talking about, folks. Watch this video real quick. This is my home state, Washington State, as liberal as it gets, getting the more liberal by the day. Look at this. That's a homeless dude with schizophrenia taking out a priest at a Catholic church. He just rushed the stage and just took him out. So we're going to have to cancel this Sunday service because of the need to prioritize our patrons, our churchgoers, and our priests. We do not want them to get killed. This is Washington State. This is Spokane. That is what happens when you welcome in a homeless person into your community that has schizophrenia, that has a history of violence towards others, and you have them in a very quiet church service. Same thing can be said here in Oakland. Hey, it's not Oakland's fault. Maybe the store is just not viable. Let's read about that. So the company isn't going away completely. And that is corporate speak for, we're going to close down this location because it sucks. It's terrible for business. We can't operate here. So we're going to go with the tried and true, prioritize the safety of our customers and our workers. The vaguely worded announcement from Sweet July rubbed several Bay Area locals the wrong way. Didn't rub you the right way? Know what I'm saying? Oh, didn't feel good. Many felt the 35-year-old entrepreneur was blaming the store's closing on crime in the neighborhood. What's wrong with that? If that's what's happening, that is true. And we know it's true. How many videos have I run right here on this channel that have said, good Lord, look at what's happening in Oakland. Just, whether they're, having a wildly out of control sideshow, maybe rushing a 7-Eleven. You got dozens of kids just robbing a 7-Eleven. I mean, the homelessness, the drug addiction, the story just goes on and on and on, right? Maybe it's that. So many felt 35-year-old entrepreneur was blaming the stores closing on crime in the neighborhood, which they are, which she is. She said it. We want to keep our people alive and not maimed, not injured. So we have concern about that. Therefore, we're shutting her down. And so this blaming the crime in the neighborhood is casting an unfair light on the area. Is it? Is it? Or is it a realistic light, and this is what's going on? Well, clearly, this is news for reasonable people. This isn't news for stupid people. Now, if you want to go news for stupid people, go watch CNN, right? Go watch MSNBC, because their numbers are declining, aren't they? I mean, when CNN is outrun by MTV and, the Adult Swim channel, when those channels are getting more views than CNN, that's when you know far left has gone off the deep end, right? And here's what you've got. You've got a media, Atlanta Black Star, saying, well, it's an unfair light on the... No. It's a totally fair light on the area, and it's because you've had politicians, including district attorneys in Oakland, that have done a massive disservice to Oakland. Period. Full stop. You've allowed crime to go unfettered. You've allowed homelessness to go unfettered. Just whatever you guys want to do, this is going to be great. It's going to be great. Oh, yeah, homelessness is on the rise. California spent, $24 billion and doesn't really know where that money went to as far as homelessness goes. And you wonder why you've got a problem running an upscale, whatever this is, home and self-care deal with a bakery. I mean, if I was a chick and into nice stuff and wanted to go get, a donut and coffee or whatever, this sounds like an ideal store. But not in Oakland. That's the rub, right? Not in Oakland. Ken Houston, executive director of the Oakland-based nonprofit called Beautification Council, had a few words for Curry. Just because the Sweet July store is closing, it doesn't mean it has something to do with crime, he told Mercury News. Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough. I totally get it. I have said that many times on these news stories. Just because it's closing doesn't mean that it's because they've been robbed so many times. Clearly, they've only been robbed once, right? That's a damn miracle. It could be financial, all right? Yeah, this store isn't viable. Just doesn't make sense. It could just be not working. Maybe. Just because she's a Curry doesn't mean that her business operation was financially viable. All right. But when you got Steph Curry funding it, I mean, seriously, honestly, this was either a money loser because it was a money loser or because it was in a location that is horrific. And with all the news stories coming out of Oakland, doesn't it make sense that it's closing in addition to whatever the other, I mean, we won't know. It's a privately owned business, right? So they're not going to go, we just lose a lot of money here, therefore we had to close her down. It had nothing to do with crime. They're not going to come out and say that. Houston didn't stop there. He added, things are changing, but people like to put the negative on top of it because they've got to have an ugly duckling, and they're trying to make Oakland an ugly duckling. No, the crime makes Oakland an ugly duckling. The homelessness makes Oakland an ugly duckling. The stores closed up, including now Sweet July, makes Oakland an ugly duckling. The people running around pitching drugs makes Oakland an ugly duckling. Need I go on? No, I don't need to. You get it. Beautification Council is a micro cleaning and sanitization maintenance company. Other Oakland locals took it directly to Curry and Sweet July, leaving their thoughts on the company's Instagram page. One person wrote, instead of making it Oakland's fault and painting the country in an ugly picture, why not be honest and say that the store's location has 0 foot traffic and no one knows it's there? Okay, let's just say that Oakland has 0 foot traffic. All right. Okay. Let's just say that this company isn't viable. This business isn't viable because it has 0 foot traffic and no one knows it's there. Why is there 0 foot traffic? Why is nobody shopping in Oakland? Because they don't want to get killed. Full stop. I mean, is that fair? Is that reasonable? Yeah, it is. There is a thriving art scene and businesses in your same area that have been there for decades, and so many of them are leaving. They're closing down shop. I've done story after story after story of businesses closing in Portland, Seattle, Oakland, LA, you name it. Big blue Democrat-run cities have this issue called safety, public safety. They lack it. They lack it. Here in Seattle, we defunded the police. We hate cops, and it shows because in downtown, you've got areas where it's just basically lawless. I mean, Aurora Avenue in Seattle, lawless. International District, 12th and South Jackson, lawless. 3rd Pike Pine, lawless. Right by the Pike Place Market, lawless. You've got these areas where public safety is not a big priority, right? Another person offered a different cause behind the store's shutdown, explaining that the store's hours were not consistent. They wrote, "Every time I stop by to view your store, it somehow is always closed, both weekdays or weekends." No, it was open on the weekends, just not very late. Because of crime in the area after it goes dark. You hate to say that, but that's the thing. I remember being in downtown Seattle, south of the Dome, SoDo, right? South of the Kingdom, which is no longer there. It hasn't been there for a long time. But it's where our big sports teams play, Mariners and the ones we have left anyway, where the Sonics aren't being whisked off to Oklahoma City. I remember being in that area during the pandemic, and I remember looking at a mini mart that was closing up. What were we doing? We were flying a drone down there on some story. A mini mart was closing up at like 6 o'clock. I'm like, what in the F is going on? So I Googled the address and I eventually worked out it was in such a high crime area there in South Seattle, but south of downtown Seattle, that they would literally close the shop up right before it got dark. It's a mini mart. This is like a 7-Eleven, but for a gas station kind of deal. And you're like, oh, okay. That's how bad it is. This store, exact same thing. Because you can't tell me there aren't some moms out there, some females out there who get off work at 4 or 5, got to drive 15 minutes to get to Sweet July and want to shop after 5 p.m. That had to have been a thing. And yet this store closes at 5 o'clock because you got a bunch of lunatics running around with guns, with drugs, who knows, whatever, willing to just absolutely destroy your store so that they can get their next fix. Or destroy your store just because they're lunatics and nuts and they're on drugs and they love doing that kind of thing. So, it's somehow always closed. It had limited hours for sure, and that had to have impacted its finances as well. Few commenters noted that Curry's brick-and-mortar store had security guards present, although it's unclear when this additional security was put in place, probably always. One commenter suggested that the guard had been present for much of the time since the store opened in 2021. Where I get my haircut, the Bravern here in Bellevue, there's a upper end watch store, Omega store. You've got all the handbag stores. I don't even know what they are. You know what I mean? I see the logos. And I'm like, that's a bag. That's whatever, some fancy French name. There's a couple of those where I get my haircut as well, and my optometrist, my eye doctor. And they've always got guards out in front, armed guards, because you got a bunch of lunatics running around breaking into stores like this. Best of luck in all new endeavors, but respectively, shout out to Sweet July's on-site security team. I know there's never been an incident while any staff or patrons have been present. My dad has served as a security guard there for over 3 years. The couple times I've been to the store, it's always very quiet and the girls are so pleasant. Well, that's once you get in through the front door after the security guard goes, "Yep, you, Junior. Here we go. Let's go." And it's his dad, right? According to the outlet, on October 1st, 2022, a burglary took place. Okay, who cares? That is a daily occurrence in Oakland. And so much of this has to do because Oakland, San Francisco, California, big liberal state, big liberal cities, and their leadership has literally exposed them to all of this nonsense, which is you can't run a store in these environments because somebody might get killed. And that's not good for business. So Steph Curry's wife, Ayesha, she took it upon herself to say, you know what? Boop, we're out. We're done. Yeah. Do we know the full story? No. Is this the answer that they gave? Yes. Does it make sense? Prioritizing safety for their patrons and employees? Yes. Here's what that looks like. I mean, that is a first class front to a store. It just is. I mean, that is super nice looking. So in Oakland, is it shocking that this thing went sideways? No, not at all. Let's take a look and see what we got in their pictures. Yeah. Okay. Here's what mainstream media has to say. Thank you, Oakland. Ayesha Curry's Sweet July Boutique announces closure. Boy, this story's quick, isn't it? We'll close because of unspecified safety concerns. What specified safety concerns do you need? It's a store. It's in Oakland, right? I mean, wife of Warrior superstar Steph Curry opened the Sweet July store 4 years ago, sold home goods, yada, yada, closed on Sunday. Boop, done. So mainstream media just treats this as yet another store that couldn't make a go of it. Couldn't make a go of it. Just too dangerous. Too dangerous. And that's what we've got in Seattle, Portland. You've got story after story after story. And like this article goes, people want to say, hey, it's not the location. Maybe it's just the lack of foot traffic, which to me is just, what are you thinking? Why do you think there's no foot traffic? It's just not that hard to figure out, right? It's just not that hard to figure out. But so many people just have this massive disconnect and don't recognize public safety has a huge impact, not only on your ability for your business to stay open, but ability to sell your home. And that's why I cover so much of public safety here on News for Reasonable People, because my background is as a real estate appraiser and a designated managing broker and owner of a company that sells real estate. And I don't know if you know this, but it's much easier to sell a home in an area that actually prioritizes public safety, meaning you've got enough cops and the cops come out when you call them and they will arrest the bad man and take the bad man away. And then you've got folks that actually prosecute the bad man and judges that put the bad man in jail. Yeah, that's called public safety. Oakland doesn't have that. Therefore, businesses shut down. Just that simple. It's just that reasonable. It's just that easy to work out. But I love reading these stories because people are like, what about that? What about that? What about that? How about you just look at the real issue, which is right in front of you. Walk around the store, walk around the location for just a little bit. Then you tell me what you got going on. Not hard to figure out, is it? All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.